Warning, the following podcast is intended for immature dads only. Listener discretion is advised. This is Dad's Game Review, the most casual hardcore gamers around. Reviews and news from every platform. We waste our time so you don't have to.
What's up, kids? Welcome to another episode of Dad's Game Review. My name's Paul Spirlacci, and I'm joined, as always, by a man with a Silent Hill t-shirt.
Hey, I do got the Silent Hill t-shirt on. It's actually Silent Hill 3. We're doing Silent Hill 2, but this is Silent Hill 3 with like the crying nun statue or whatever with the blood and like it says Silent Hill. You can only see it if you're watching us on YouTube. Now featuring video on YouTube. There's a sales page.
Right? It's just the
Yeah, hey guys. Yeah, hey, all two of you that watch us on YouTube, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Right. Yeah, I swear, you're gonna love it.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm having a bit of a mental breakdown on this side.
Those are fun. Been there.
So I'm in school to be a social worker. I'm actually in school to be a therapist. You could be in California. You could be a therapist as a social worker. So
I almost pursued that. My first major was psychology, and they told me most likely, as with a psychology degree, I would end up being a social worker, and that's kind of what pushed me out of it. Actually, I that's when I left that as a major because, I wanted to do private psychology, but they're like, you have to have a PhD, plus you have to build your clientele, plus you have to do a lot of social work to build up to that. And I was like, well, maybe that's not my field, but I still love psychology. So
right. No, so I've been pursuing it after years and years in a career that I hated. I was a computer programmer, and I just wanted to shoot myself in the face. And so I started working after that ended, and I finally gave it up. I started doing like some therapy, and people were like, "You're really good at this. Why don't you pursue this?" So I started going to school for it. But this class that I'm taking is like, it's like shoot me in the face. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. So I'm just having these huge days where I'm just like sleeping, like days. Like I'm just sleeping for days. Like I can't, the stress is just like, I don't even want to get out of bed.
He messages me and he's like, I woke up after like 12 hours and I was up for 2 hours and I went to bed for another 8. And I'm like, holy shit, man. What's 22 out of 24 hours you were sleeping? Wow.
The stress, I can't handle the stress of this class. It's a advanced statistical. It basically, you have to explain math to people who give you a boatload of money and how it's going to work. The program is going to work itself out. It feels like a business class. And I'm just not good with business or math. So, I am going to need like 6 weeks, or 6 or 7 weeks to take off. Now, Josh said he's going to fill in with stuff.
I could never fill your shoes, Paul. I could never fill your shoes. What I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try and keep us in the algorithm with his sites.
I bet you say that to all your co-hosts.
I got size 14s. Maybe I could fill your shoes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a joke there. Anyway, I'm gonna try and keep content coming on Twitter and I can't do the site, the .com site, but Twitter, YouTube, whatever I can do. I'll post some more clips and stuff as I go. I had so many clips with Silent Hill 2 and funny stuff with TikTok, and I'm gonna try something new. I got to learn new things. I got to branch out, right? So I just bought a microphone. I'm gonna try and do some clips with some voiceover. I've been saving so many clips on the PS5 with everything I've been playing. So Paul's gone. I need to come up with something new to keep y'all interested. I'm going to attempt to do some voiceover gaming highlight clips. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or if I'm just talking crap right now, but I'll give it my best.
Well, and if you need my soundboard of just...
Oh, shit. Doing this? Oh, yeah. All right.
I don't want to get sued. But anyway, soundboard of clips. I have them all, including my Monster Mash, which I never played for any of the Halloween episodes.
Oh, we're on November 1st, but I got to say, okay, I'm feeling a little relieved on November 1st because what I did for October was horror every single stream since
Oh my
October
God.
1st. And I'm a very reactive, jumpy person. I spent my entire October in anxiety streams for hours and hours at a time. And
Right.
so tonight we went back to normal gaming and we did Life is Strange Double Exposure, the new
Oh,
narrative
that's
game.
nice.
The nice slow-paced talking narrative game. We all just discussed life and our feelings for about 3 hours instead of shrieking constantly running down halls of Silent Hill for the last 2 weeks. Holy crap, the clips I have from this, you guys. Jesus Christ.
You know what's
Anyway,
funny is that my kids they tend to know when I'm playing horror games because they hear down from the living room every so often, Jesus.
well, I have a high pitched shriek. Anybody that looks at the clips, and like I said, I'll be posting some this week. Like I do a whole like Michael Jackson, and or like a little bit of a it's like high pitched shrieking like that comes out of this face, this 6'6", 220-pound man shrieking like a little girl. My wife will come in and comment on it. Like, what the hell is happening to you? It's scary, man. This game was scary.
The game,
Like,
I didn't think the same characters would be scary. Like the same mannequin with the legs for legs and then the legs for upper
I mean
legs.
I mean this so sincerely, but F mannequins. The entire game. My shrieks. We gotta start from the beginning. We gotta start. Okay, we played Silent Hill this week.
So here's it. Silent Hill is a 2001 survival horror game developed by Team Silent and a group in a group in the Konami Computer Entertainment Tokyo is published by Konami. The game was released in September to November, originally for the PlayStation 2. Now, this we're going over is the remake that was remade by Bloober, the Bloober team.
Boy, they were being hard on Bloober when that got announced. They were being so hard on them. Oh, and I get it.
You know what it is
I was
that
too.
they handed it over to essentially a no-name company.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, respectfully, I say that with all due respect because there was not a lot that we knew Bloober by at the time.
I can't even remember what they were the one thing they were kind of known for, but it was given to a small company for them to create a reputation, and they got so crap talked when it was posted on Twitter and they showed what Angela looked like and all this kind of stuff. But I can assure you guys right now, before we start this review, we'll check it anyway. Sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt that. I just saw mine cut
Sorry,
out.
no worries. So my fondest memories, my only memory of Silent Hill 2 was the inside joke that they have. I don't know if you saw this on the wall in the town when you first get there, but it says there used to be a hole here.
Yeah, that's been a meme too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's from when we were the original one. You're in some type of an apartment. They put it there in town, but I remember it from being in his apartment. And I remember they didn't put that up there. I don't believe that they put that up there, that there was a hole in the original. In the original, I just remember there being a hole and then there being not a hole in the wall.
Well, they did that with the room too. I mean, that was in room 4 too. Yeah, but there's references to the
maybe
hole
that's what I'm thinking about.
times in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah,
but your overall experience did you consider it like the scariest game back then, or what? Like
at the time, yeah. Oh yeah, it was nothing anybody had created, and it was just fascinating to me that something could be so scary. It was the first game that made me jump out of my skin like a movie, and I was just like, oh my God, we've reached a new level in video gaming. There's going to be a new level of gaming that's going to be just scare,
this was like
whatever.
The big breakthrough of psychological horror plus sheer terror of these creatures and stuff. Like I remember the only way I played the first Silent Hill was this demo disc from PlayStation. You guys remember PlayStation Magazine with the official demo disc? They ended up sending that out with Silent Hill on it one day, and my parents were like super religious zealots, and like we had to go to Bible study all the time, and like my brother and I sat down before Bible study and played the Silent Hill demo for the first half hour.
Oh wow, that must have been
the demented stuff we saw on that. We were like so into it from that point on. So
we didn't know the human mind could be capable.
It was so freaking weird back in like '98 or whatever it was. But like 2001, I'm living with my cousins, and they had the money to buy a brand new PlayStation 2 that I couldn't afford that crap or even find one. Right. And so we go into a Target and we're like going to pick a new game, and it comes down to between I wanted Silent Hill 2 and he wanted SmackDown Here Comes the Pain featuring Brock Lesnar. And well, I agreed wrestling is fun. We both loved wrestling, and that was just it. We were both like really into wrestling, but I really wanted to get it. So I talked him into playing Silent Hill 2, and we spent that week with my cousins. They didn't want to play it. They were too scared. So they sat on the floor, and I played through it the entire week, and we beat it in that week, and it was just such a good memory. And it was the scariest shit ever. It was scary.
Oh, yeah, it was great. I mean, it was great. I remember playing it with my daughter, and I remember it being scary as hell. I just remember it a little differently. Now, one of the takeaways that I got from playing this version was how they still made it feel like you were playing on the PlayStation 2. Did you get that feeling?
Are you talking about kind of like a clunkiness of the movements, or
everything?
Yeah, it still felt like it still felt nostalgic. It still felt like the classic survival horror without the horrible tank controls. You still moved to kind of a little funny.
That was a good thing to me.
That's the charm. I
was
okay.
Like,
I'm okay with that.
How did they make that feel? How did they do that? You know, like I was like, it feels like I'm playing on the PlayStation 2, but the graphics are so smooth.
But modern.
Yeah, the graphics are so smooth, and you move smoother, but you still felt like you were on a PlayStation 2, which was great.
So the biggest thing I was worried about was the atmosphere. So we start the game, you start at the top of the hill, you get out of the car, you're in a creepy little area. James, you don't know what's going on. We're going to talk about this kind of approaching this as if we had just played the game and didn't know what it means or where it's headed. So you head down into this creepy town. You come across Angela at a gravesite. She's this kind of scared, soft-spoken, woman who's looking for her mother also.
She's looking for
And James says he's looking for his wife. And so, Angela warns him, Silent Hill's not the place to go. Don't head in there. Something's bad's going to happen. He's like, well, I think my wife's there. So he heads into Silent Hill. And Silent Hill turns out to be, you go ahead. Silent Hill.
Turns out to be Fogville.
Fogville. And that was a huge deal back in the PS1, because here's what's funny. You show anybody a foggy picture on social media, what the hell are they going to say? Oh, it looks like Silent Hill. Or like people posted memes of a foggy outside and like, oh, feeling like Silent Hill around here. Here's the funny thing. The fog in Silent Hill 1 was because of graphical limitations. It was a cop-out. It was there to fill in the pop-up that you would see trying to walk around an open town, which was something that wasn't really done back in the PS1 days like this. So it was graphical limitations that caused what became the representative fog of Silent Hill. And I think that's awesome. So walking down that hill into the graveyard, you've got the music that kicks in. It's a very specific type of music, and you've got the atmosphere noises and the sounds, and they had it right off the beginning.
Well, they all had graphical limitations on the PlayStation 1 because the PlayStation 1 touted this amazing, powerful engine that nobody had before. But so people were making games for the PS1 that were graphically outside the realm of its ability.
Polygons. We went 3D with polygons.
And that's the reason that I don't know if you remember that game Driver. Do you remember that game Driver? It's the
Here we
reason,
go on a tangent. Here we go.
It's the reason that buildings appeared while you were driving.
Everything popping up just drastically.
Yeah,
you could be going straight and you think you're just going straight for a while, and then all of a sudden a turn pops up with a bunch of buildings.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
But that's
so
where,
it was just to get rid of the pop-up. Yeah, it was just to get rid of the pop-up. So they had the atmosphere right going into Silent Hill, and talk about the initial going into Silent Hill, the apartments there.
So now let me ask you a quick question before you go into this. Oh, that's the thing that cracks me up is when you meet up with Maria, and she's staring at this house, and you're way into the game already. You're somewhat into the game, like I have to say at least 4 hours, and she's just staring at this house, and you're like, are you okay? And she's like, there's something about this house that gives me the creeps. And it's like, this gives you the creeps? This mannequin that just attacked you didn't give you the creeps? Like,
what I love is there's so many, you have all these characters in the game. You're going to come across, you have Angela first that you come across, you have Eddie that you come across, you have Maria, who looks like Mary, his wife. And they all sit around and have normal conversations in what is literally eternal hell around you. And they just have these like normal conversations as if everything is just totally fine. And, we understand that this is some alternate reality. Kids? But I love the conversations. There's one part where like Angela's just sitting there with a knife, just a knife. And James is having a totally casual conversation where she's just like out of her head. And like the whole reality is just, it's an altered reality with all these monsters that you come across. You come across the the basic guys, right, where they look like they're wrapped in Saran wrap or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they look like somebody pulled a straitjacket over their head.
Yeah, there you go, like a straitjacket
and they just thing. That's all there is to them, is like a straitjacket over the head, like almost like when you pull your t-shirt up and you just leave your face outside the hole of the t-shirt.
Yeah, like it's like it's nondescript body with legs that comes at you, and it can also spit poison or acid at you. But because it's survival horror, you got to be real careful about your ammo and stuff. So majority of the game, if you can, you're swinging with your wooden board or your pipe, trying to make sure you take these out without wasting too much ammo. Right. Luckily, I hoarded my ammo, and I had quite a bit later in the game, and then, sure enough, came across a boss that wiped out half of it. So,
Pyramid Head the first time took out all my ammo. The first encounter with Pyramid Head, which is basically, if you don't know,
well, that's because you played it wrong, obviously, because you're not supposed to fight him, but that's okay.
Oh, is that right? Oh. Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, back up.
Yeah. So wait. Before you go into all this, where does so we all remember the playable trailer PT, right?
Yeah, I only got to play it once or twice, but it's legendary. Yes.
It's supposed to be a part somehow of the Silent Hill franchise.
Inspired by, yes. No.
Oh, okay. Because Norman Reedus is in it at the end and everything like that. I personally,
it was supposed to be called Silent Hills. It was supposed to be the name of it, and it was called PT Demo.
It was one of the reasons. It was one of the reasons that Sony hired Hideo Kojima, and they erected his own studio. Because he left Konami. And Sony was like, "Come over here. We'll give you whatever the hell you want."
He's a god in video game creation. That's why.
We'll put a statue in front of the studio too, and call it Kojima Studios. And that was the whole thought process, that he was going to bring Silent Hill with him, but he couldn't because it's Konami property. And instead, we got garbage like Death Stranding.
Oh, it's okay, guys. Calm down. It's fine. I'm not a fan either, but. Just take a breath. I know he really upset a few of you right there. It'll be all right. I know it's a magnificent game. I can't get through the gameplay. I've tried. We actually had somebody that will listen to this show request that we play it, and I've gone back to it 3 times, and
that is the nicest rejection ever. I can't. I couldn't.
I like the story. I wanted to know where the heck the story went, but the gameplay just killed me. Anyway, we're on a tangent. Anyway, Silent Hill. Sorry. Yes, PT is legendary. It never got made. It got shut down. And in fact, if you can find a PlayStation 4 that still has it installed on it, they sell for $400 to $500 just with the demo that's still playable on it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Anyway, sorry. I thought that fell somewhere into the lore of the Silent
Hill. Oh, it does.
Hill.
No, totally. Yeah, that was a huge deal. What was it, 7 years ago now? That was back in the 360 that was PS4 days. Sorry.
PS4
I just said
days,
PS4. Yeah, PS4 and Xbox One and all that.
Right. But anyway, sorry.
So
go back
Silent
to
Hill.
what were we talking
The first place you go is the apartments. You go looking around apartments. And then you realize you get taken into an alternate reality. You start having to solve these multi-step puzzles. How did you play the game for your fighting and your puzzle levels?
I play it standard.
On the puzzle, or both, or
both. Up until I got to the second apartments. After I got to the second apartments, I reduced the combat down to light.
And I was
having a hard time with I was having a hard time with the puzzles, and the puzzles and the combat were a little hard for me. So I moved the combat down to light so I could concentrate on the puzzle.
And I ended up doing that too. I actually started out on light, and it was kind of too easy. And then as long as you're at a save point, you can reset the difficulty at any point. I put it up to standard, and then it was getting a little kind of frustrating. I actually had multiple friends tell me they quit playing because they just got sick of the combat, and that was on normal. So I don't know, maybe consider putting it on light. I still was totally challenged all the way through it. It was still scary enough, but I didn't have a lot of deaths, thank God, because I probably would have gotten frustrated. As for the puzzles, you can put it on standard or light, but the only thing it changes is the solution. Plus, if you put it on light, it will actually cut out some of the story content, I guess, at some point.
Yeah.
So don't change your puzzle.
Don't change the puzzle, because
I honestly, I'd say put it on light for combat. You'll have a better time with it. You won't be as frustrated, because I know multiple people that did. But everybody plays their. Well, I never used to do story modes and stuff, but now I kind of do.
The interesting part was that when I was looking for solutions online to some of the puzzles,
keep a guide with you. Yeah, absolutely kept the guide.
every solution came in 3 parts. It came as light, normal, and hard. So I was like, oh man, if I move this puzzle thing to like light, I'm gonna be missing a whole lot of content that I'm gonna probably be mad that I didn't see.
Absolutely. So
I love the QuickTime events too. You know what I mean by QuickTime events, right? The when all of a sudden the game, it doesn't pause, but it goes into like a little movie, like where you found one of the coins in the garbage chute. You go over and you put the apple juice down the chute of the garbage chute, and all of a sudden it takes over in this narrative thing where like the coin comes popping out of the garbage chute. Like those are quick to me. That means those are quick time events. Those are like
quick time event is when a button pops up and you have to press a button to make something happen. That's a quick time event.
I was
maybe you're thinking of a different reference to it. Maybe a different reference. But yeah, the multi-step like solutions where it's like do this to do this to do this. Right. And like and then you get your little piece that you need to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. And I look, this game came out and it was when it first came out, it was hard as hell because the puzzles were hard.
And we didn't have guides back then. I mean, well, okay, there was GameFAQs.com back then, but
there was
never
1-800. There was 1-800
like,
numbers.
Yeah, you called 99 cents a minute. That was in Nintendo days. 99 cents a minute will tell you very slowly how to get through your game at 99 cents a minute. Yeah, I never used GameFAQs or anything like that, maybe till the mid 2000s. Like it just, when this game come out, you weren't really, 2001, internet's still kind of fresh and everybody's homes and stuff is still growing. So it's like, yeah, we kind of we figured this stuff out on our own. Like, it was tough. But I was glad that you could at least reduce the combat on it. It did make it easier. Because some of these puzzles and stuff, there's the legendary Hangman's puzzle, which is, you didn't get to it yet where you were at. But it's cryptic as hell. Even with the solution in front of me, it didn't make sense to me. So it's like, wow. There's some points where, yeah, I'm stupid. I will admit that at times. And with my ADHD, I can't pay attention to things very well. But I could not put the Hangman's puzzle rhymes and poems together in my head. But after you leave the apartments and you go into the alternate reality, you see that for the first time, and you find the mannequins. And you talked about the mannequins. But these
we saw the mannequins before that, didn't we?
No, that's the first time you encounter them is when you actually go in there. Out in the streets, you're only encountering the garbage bag saran wrap guys. But as soon as you go in there, the worst enemy in the game perpetually, the mannequins. Because why? What do?
They kick you with their head, whatever
they stand there parts. They stand there in the dark and they don't move. And then when you shine a light on them, they suddenly move and scare the crap out of you. And you're 43 years old and may have a little bit of urinary leakage. And it's just I'm just kidding. Thank God I don't have that issue. But man, it just scares the crap out of you. Like I never got not scared by the mannequins because they move so suddenly on you when you spot them. And then later on in the game, you get the spider mannequins. And they can climb up walls and ceilings. So not only can they like startle you from just being near you, they can jump down on you and you can't even see them attacking you. Like the mannequins are the worst thing through the whole game. I don't care what anybody says.
even the ones that crawl.
Those on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Those ones are like, oh my God, but they're easier to kill, believe it or not.
As long as you get a whack on them, but they skitter across the screen. You're like, what was that? Jesus.
You're like, blah, blah, blah.
And then you get the radio that's supposed to alert you to all the different creatures around you. So every time you walk in a room, like everything's nice and peaceful and creepy, and you walk in a room and then you hear static, and you're like, oh.
You're like,
what is near me? You don't know what corner it's around. You don't know what room it's in. You're just in its vicinity, and it's going to surprise you.
And if you play on the PlayStation 5, it comes very loud out of your controller. Very loud.
I shut that off. Yeah, there's a lot of noise.
So much so that you're just like, where is this thing? And you just like, kill it, because I want the sound to stop, and I can't for whatever reason. I can't find the setting.
It's in settings. It's hard. Yeah, you have to turn off controller volume because it pisses me off when they put that in games sometimes. Because I'm sitting here with my wife playing and like my controller's making noise. I'm like, no.
Like, making radio sounds. Yeah, it's making those static radio sounds that you're just, and it's so loud. It's so loud.
Definitely, and that's what creeps you out because you just know you're in the room with something, but you don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes it's a roach. Sometimes it's a tiny little roach. That's all. Did you notice that?
Things too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can set off your alarm and you start losing your crap, and then all it is a little roach that skitters across. You stomp it, and it's like, oh, peaceful of the radio. Thank God.
The peaceful of the radio. Yes.
So you face a couple bosses. The first boss you face is called Flesh Lips, and you face them, right? That thing in the cage. It comes down hanging in a cage, and you have to basically blow it away. It's in one of the first areas. I forget which one.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
if
the combat
is set to light,
you still face it. Yeah, you have to face all the bosses. It's like a spider creature that's in the area. Oh, actually, you should have faced it before you even went to the blue apartments. Yeah, you did. Anyway.
Okay. Then yeah, I must have. I'm just not remembering.
So there's a moment where you meet Maria, and so Maria she looks like Mary, his wife.
Right.
Maria has the memories of Mary. She talks to him, and she's trying to seduce him. And I sent you that fun little series of clips that I made, where basically Maria's coming on to you like kind of strong sexually, trying to distract you from your wife. And I basically spent I have a 3.5-minute clip of me talking crap to Maria, like turning down her advances, and it actually was pretty hilarious. I put it together into this whole clip. It was just fun, kind of like just talking crap and I don't know, giving her shit while she was coming on to me, because I was like, you're not my wife. You're not my wife.
Yeah, she seemed pretty. She seemed pretty flirtatious for a woman who just
pretty aggressive. Takes you to a motel. She gets on the bar to liquors you up with some drinks, and gets on a pole to start teasing you.
Because when you walk into a town that's filled with mutants, that's what you're thinking.
Right. Let's have some sexy time. There's nothing I'd love to do more than sitting in the middle of this park talking with you with demons around us than get a little freaky, get a little freaky. So, and you learn the truth about Mary here. Mary, his wife, was very sick. Mary ended up dying 3 years ago. It's not clear really why or how or what, but Mary died of her sickness a couple of years ago. You meet a little girl named Laura. Laura is like the innocence in Silent Hill. Right. When she's around, things aren't as bad, and she kind of insults you with
Eddie.
Goofy little comments. And then you come across Eddie is a little bit of an oddball, big guy that was obviously bullied, and he does have the capacity to kill, you think, and you do find out later that he is. So these are all personalities in Silent Hill.
Right.
That you end up encountering with their own little personal demons themselves, and that you kind of figure out as you go through.
The funny thing is that I know you're gonna laugh at this, but the things that happen while you're talking to Eddie, like you talk to him a second time in a movie theater, and he's just casually eating popcorn. It's like, where did he get this popcorn from? Like,
that's another one of those casual moments where it's like creepy Silent Hill casual. You're like, why are we just having a totally normal conversation and he's just snacking here and we're in literal hell?
Not to mention that there's this little girl that he hangs out with, gives off pedophilia vibes.
Yeah, Laura's just running around, but that's supposed to be, like I said, that's supposed to be the innocence of these all represent different characters. There's so many speculations about how what this story actually means and what characters are tied to what memories and all this kind of stuff, that it's really interesting. I'll go into it a little bit later, but right. Yeah, Laura, she just pops up now and it's kind of like a lighthearted moment, and disappears. Then nobody wants to stay with anybody. Angela doesn't want to stay with you. Eddie doesn't want to stay with you. Laura doesn't want to stay with you. You're all on your own out there searching.
Right.
Silent
Pretty
Hill.
much. It's pretty much like the plight of every man.
And then where did you stop?
I stopped at Brookhaven Hospital, which, by the way, is the actual name of a hospital in New York where I lived, which kind of freaked me out. But I got into Brookhaven Hospital. I got into the basement, and I'm with Laura, with Maria rather, finding things in the Brookhaven Hospital that I shouldn't be seeing or finding.
Yeah, the purpose is basically just to find out the truth, like find your wife, find out the truth about Silent Hill, find everybody, we're just all trying to find our own answers basically in Silent Hill.
And she takes you to the park, Maria. Before you go to Brookhaven Hospital, she takes you to the park where she's like, I'm going to take you to her. And you're like, okay, and you go there and it ends up, it's like a statue. And she's like, isn't this romantic? And you're like, no, It's not. Wait, you kept saying her. I thought you meant my wife.
Well,
Like,
I have when I go over the summary of what it could mean at the end, I actually have a comment for that. If you remind me, there's a reason for that. So you did hospital, but you didn't get to alternate hospital, and that's where so I'll continue from there. It's like once he's with Maria, and then it switches to the alternate reality of the hospital, and now Maria's been put in a cell, and Pyramid Head's out, and like everything's going crazy. Things start getting wild. Like from there, it gets weirder and weirder. And then you reach a part, I won't give a spoiler, but something major happens with Pyramid Head, and you have to flee the area. So you head back out into Silent Hill. You go to the Historical Society. You end up in the prisons. Just a quick summary. Prisons is where you learn about, you encounter the spider mannequins and things get worse.
right.
Prison is you encounter the mandarins. It's another type of creature. Did you come across the guys that walk below the cage and shoot stuff up at you? Okay,
No,
well they pop up a few times, but they actually come out and you have to fight them, and they're chasing you in the halls at one point. It's absolutely horrible. I can't even. They have like elephant feet for hands, and like they hang off cages and stuff, or they come just like stomping at you, and like they're just big beasts.
Where do they? This is like they had a survey in Japan, and they said everybody who's ever had a nightmare ever.
Oh yeah.
Just write to us your worst nightmares.
Well, it gets weird in Japan, man. It gets weird in Japan. They have some
like
creativity.
This isn't just one person coming up with like this many nightmarish characters. This is like a team of nightmares.
That's what was so cool, is that the creativity on these creatures was not seen back then. This was some weird like taboo stuff back in like those.
It's weird now.
It's still freaking weird. It's so twisted.
Weird.
So I got a couple more creatures here. You get the bubblehead nurse. We all know the nurse. We've seen the cult favorite nurse with the knives or whatever, the twitching their way through the hallways and like coming at you with their groans and moans, and like we all know that one.
Bubblehead nurse.
We got Abstract Daddy, and here's where this is a reference to what the other characters are going through. You get into the labyrinth. Which luckily it wasn't too labyrinthy. Thank God, I was worried about that. But you have something called Abstract Daddy chasing you through the whole thing. And Abstract Daddy is what's speculated as Angela's father, who was sexually and physically abusive to her. You're trying to help and save Angela. She's trying to make a decision about whether she wants to live or die. She came suicidal to Silent Hill to decide whether she's going to live or die. And so you basically save her from her own father in this incarnation of this giant monster. And it stalks you through the halls, and it's trippy. It's crazy. And then you fight Mary, and that's the last. So there's only maybe about 6 or 7 creatures in the whole game, but that covers all the ones that you encounter, is fighting a different version of Mary too.
Oh, is that right? Now,
yeah, she becomes a spider creature with like lashing tail and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fleshless.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't know that you fought her.
Yeah, that's the final boss, because there's a Pyramid Head fight where you fight dual Pyramid Heads, and that one really sucked. That was actually harder than the final fight with Mary.
Now, how do you defeat Pyramid Head? Where do you?
Oh, we're gonna go back to that. So in that first battle with Pyramid Head, hey, pro tip: you don't shoot him. Pro tip: you stay away from him the entire time until an alarm goes off, and then you escape with all your ammo. So the first time you come across Pyramid Head and they put you in a room with him, don't waste a single bullet.
But now, how do you defeat him? Period. Like,
well, the only time you actually have to fight him is in the double Pyramid Head battle, and they both share the same amount of health. So all you got to do is unload into either of them, but you have 2 Pyramid Heads rushing at you at the same time, and it's just kind of.
But when you shoot his head,
you just shoot wherever. Shoot his legs, shoot him in the dick, whatever. Just freaking shoot him. Like apparently, like they said, they actually said in one of the guides that they have no confirmation that shooting him in the head is any different than shooting him in the legs. Well, you just shoot Pyramid Head. So yeah.
No. I totally understand that part. I just, every time you hit him in the head, it was like it bounced off. So
it would make sense. The metal Pyramid Head. I thought so too, but that's just what the guide said. It said it just hit him. So.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense then, because I was worried that you were going to hit him and that it was just going to be like this secret special area, like when he turns around, you got to hit him in the back or something.
No, they don't pull any of that stuff in this game. It's pretty straightforward. I can't think of. I mean, you always want to get more headshots than not, but there's no hot spots or anything that you have to specifically aim for, which is good, because I actually found the shooting in this game a little tougher than a normal third-person shooter. And I'm pretty good at the third-person shooters, but I feel like I never got used to the recoil of the guns or something, like, because you don't upgrade anything. You don't make any of your items better. You just you do get a shotgun. Yeah, well, you get better items, but you can't upgrade anything. So you can't upgrade like the recoil or whatever. You're just, I
Right.
just felt like
Yeah,
everything was trying to pull off 2 shots in a row in the same spot didn't always go well. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Well, we're talking PlayStation 2 here. There was no such thing as like upgrading anything at the time. I mean, what games were there where you upgraded things?
Well, and back then, the aiming was just holding out your gun and aiming up or down. If you
Right,
remember,
pretty much.
that's all it was there. So that's all
Yeah.
it was in the old Silent Hill.
What else?
But overall,
yeah,
what did you? I mean, I thought they did
I
an
loved
excellent
it.
job. Yeah,
I thought it was great. Bloober did an amazing job. They just came along and they just were like, "Yeah, we'll do it," and they just knocked it out of the park. To be honest with you, I mean, to be quite honest, that's where I found it. I keep wanting to play it. And it's one of the few games that when we're done here, I'm going to actually go back and finish.
yeah. I was going to say you got to finish it because you were the one that was so hyped for this. And you're like, we got to play this for October, and I was like, totally agree. So
yeah, totally. And oh yeah, that was the other thing was that what do we? I was going to go into what we're playing next, but I totally forgot.
Well, let me just give it a quick. I was going to talk about an alternate explanation for what this game was. So there's so many speculations out there for what the meaning behind the characters and stuff are basically. But spoilers now for whatever. Basically, James killed his wife 3 years ago. He was tired of dealing with her sickness, and he has his own guilt about the situation.
You're really cramping my style, babe.
Yep, and so he ended up killing her. And so this is his own personal hell. They basically think that Mary died and she went to go meet James at their spot in Silent Hill. In her mind, Silent Hill is a positive place where James and Harris spared time together, but in his, it's his own personal hell. So he's in this demented alternate reality. And then, like I said, Angela is. They say that these 3 characters could represent different aspects of his personality, and basically Pyramid Head himself is like his own violence, and Eddie is his ability to kill, and Angela is his scared wife from the abuse he put her through and all this kind of stuff. Maybe Mary went through sexual abuse as a child, just like Angela. So there's all these speculations about it.
Wow, this is very deep.
It gets deep. If you want to go into lore on Silent Hill story, I read just in like 20 minutes, I read multiple different accounts of how they interpreted things. So I just explained the best that I could explain from what I got out of it, but that's about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good. We can sit here and bore you more with the details about Silent Hill and lore, or we can talk about the news.
News.
And now it's time for gaming news.
Thanks, Colt. So, the only thing I have for the news is Nintendo 2 Switch. Nintendo Switch 2 leaks images. And it cracks me up when this comes out because this is a marketing thing. And people who don't see this as a marketing thing by the company itself is stupid.
Yeah.
Because they know that they're going to get hype. They know that they're going to get likes. They know they're going to get talks. They know they're going to get all that stuff that makes money for them on social media. So they just go, leaked images. When it turns out that all it is just it's the Switch with a bigger screen.
And that's kind of what I expected. I mean, people really don't want to change on it. They're like, just give us a Switch 2. Nintendo, don't do what you normally do and shake things up like all crazy. They just want a Switch 2. They want a more powerful machine that's maybe updated closer to the current generation. Won't happen. Nintendo's always a generation behind.
Yeah.
And they want some other kind of functionality.
And yet they still make billions.
Yeah, I'm not a.
It's who's laughing now?
I'm not a big Nintendo fan, even though I was raised on it. Like they never lower their prices on games. They think they're just too hot shit. They sue everybody that's trying to emulate anything. They're just a mega corporation of a-holes that put out cutesy, friendly kiddie games that are always fun. And I agree, Nintendo games are always fun, but they don't excite me. Right. And I'm gonna tell you guys a bunch of new releases here, and the stuff that's coming out is making Nintendo players freaking crazy, but it just doesn't excite me. So it's the Switch,
right?
Oh, will you stop it? I'm going to end you. I'm going to end you if you say Yakuza again. It's freaking Yakuza.
Yakuza.
Oh
right,
my
Yakuza.
God.
Finally.
Yeah, the only thing I saw different with Switch 2 is that they're going to have, the only thing that I know for sure that's supposed to be different is they're having magnetic attachments for the Joy-Cons or something like that.
Oh, okay. Which makes sense because I was using a popcorn machine believe it or not. I
Like
know
the kind that with seeds and everything, like you put actual kernels in?
Yeah, you put them in, and it's got
Old
like that
school.
glass.
I used to do that.
It's got that glass box thing or whatever. I
Yeah,
was
I used to
using
do that
one.
all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, I was using one like as like as at a. So where I work, I'm a recreational therapist, and sometimes we put on like little fairs. We do things outside, and I was in charge of the popcorn machine. One with the big wheels like you'd see at the carnival.
Yeah.
And it was when I got inside of it and I started to see the mechanics of how it worked and everything, it was very rudimentary. And one of the things was that the heating coil attached by a magnet. And I was like, oh, that's very weird and rudimentary.
Magnets, they're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to work. It's got to be pretty strong, and I'm sure there's something that'll work to hold it on there good. I could imagine being like frustrated with my handheld, being like, oops.
Oh yeah, I could see that. It's got to be pretty.
There's got to be some kind of lock or something like that. But yeah, it's just I don't know anything that's going to be different about it, and that's fine. I mean, I haven't touched my Switch in about a year since Super Mario RPG came out. But if they implement, and I'm demanding this, Nintendo, I'm sure you're watching us right now, but please put in trophies or achievements. I need a reward mechanism.
That sounds like a software thing. That's very specific too.
I need you to tell me I'm a good boy doing a good job. Please, Nintendo. Please give me some kind of ding or Pavlovian response to doing a good job. That's all I ask.
Right. So what else do you have as far as news?
Well, I always have Ubisoft updates, and I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but they got rid of some things in their Shadows Collector's Edition because they know they can't provide it. That all DLC has been canceled now for Shadows. They've gotten rid of the early release where you can play it 3 days earlier. They've removed things out of the Collector's Edition because nothing extra is planned for it. And they dropped the CE $50. I think I might have mentioned something about that, but it's just it's like Assassin's Creed Shadows hype is kind of falling apart right now, and that's like their last chance for everything that's going on with the lawsuits and with the bankruptcy and with the failures, this kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about Death Stranding too.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We have to talk about it at some point because it's a big game, but yeah, we're not into that. They went ahead and got the sales released for Prince of Persia, which even though critically acclaimed as a good Metroidvania, it sold poorly, and they went and disbanded the entire team. So Ubisoft continues its downward trend, and I keep reporting on it every couple of weeks. Speaking of closing developers, Firewalk Studios was closed. They were the creators of the $400 million flop Concord. If you like, though, there's still Concord merchandise out there. Maybe you buy it now, and maybe it's worth $20,000 in the future, or maybe it's not, which is most likely because people are out there desperately trying to get a copy of the goddamn disc. Sure, you want a disc to an online game that's just going to bring you to nothing? It's basically a brick. Sit your freaking coffee cup on it. Thank you. And what pisses me off the most is that the cancellation to make Concord shut down the opportunity for a Infamous Prototype crossover game, and both those games are sick. I played Infamous or Prototype in the last year for streams. That would have been a beautiful thing instead of another freaking live service game that we do not want.
Right.
Here's what the main coverage for news is: new releases. Are you guys freaking excited? Do you know what's coming out in the next couple months? This is holiday release party time.
It is, but now, I'm only concerned about playing the game Undisputed.
And I have that on my list. It's on my GameFly list. That's our boxing game that's coming out, and I'm hoping they do a good job of that because we were both Fight Night fans. But yeah, that's one thing that's coming out. People are kind of hyped about. But I got this whole list of stuff. So if you want to right now, I'm going to be doing this maybe tomorrow for my stream. We're going to be playing the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. Monster Hunter is a longtime favorite. I didn't put much time into Rise on the Switch, but it's a great game with friends. You get a party of 4, you go hunt some freaking dinosaurs. The beta's open now. You can give it a shot. Just this weekend it's open. So I'm not sure when the release is, but
okay.
Everybody pumped for Dragon Age Veilguard. People were worried about this months ago, not living up to the Dragon Age name. People are raving about it. It came out yesterday, and people are losing their damn minds about this game. Even people that weren't fans are hyped for it. So even the creators of the Game of the Year, Baldur's Gate, the developers praised the makers of Veilguard. That they just did such a good job with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So pumped for that. I don't know the series, but I'm going to play it. Like I said, for stream tonight, I was playing Life is Strange Double Exposure. That's a big release. I love the Life is Strange series. Great narrative games, a lot of emotion. Metaphor.
Have you ever played the Forza series?
Yeah, that's part of my sim racing adventure for the last year. I put about 70 hours into Forza Motorsport 7.
Did you really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I beat every single event in Forza Motorsport 7. We talked about
wow.
that, how I found out racing this year helps my ADHD. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm still
yeah,
playing
yeah.
a ton of The Crew. I've mentioned The Crew, which is a Ubisoft game. I've been playing. I put
Oh.
110 hours between 2 Crew games now. So.
And you know what we forgot to mention? Well, aside from Forza, there's an update that adds 4 Porsche 911s, and some Halo items. Or at least that's what I'm reading.
Yeah, I
online.
saw there was some kind of update about that or something.
But I did say, I did read, which I should have brought up, which I forgot to, was there's a DLC for Alan Wake 2. I know you haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I have that on here. Yeah, the lake house. Yeah, the lake house or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Was
that
it
just
free?
released.
Do you know?
No, it's like $40. Like they're doing
Is it
it's a full
really?
it's a full expansion. It's like $30 maybe. I don't even know, but it's a full expansion.
I wonder if it holds
I
up
haven't
to the
heard a
rest of
whole
the game. Because
Now
the
that he mentions
game,
it, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. Has it
the
even come
game
out yet?
itself is nothing short of a masterpiece. I mean, the way that they came out with it. The you want to talk about psych horror?
I like the first
It's-
one. I haven't got to the second yet.
Oh, okay. The second one, is that on your gameplay list as well?
It is actually. No, that's on the list to get eventually here too. I
Okay.
don't think it's come out yet, but Lake House is coming out soon. Metaphor came out, which is the new Atlas game based on like the Persona idea. People are just losing their crap over it, and I can't wait to play that. I'm not a huge Persona fan, but if you like RPGs, which this guy doesn't, you're gonna love Metaphor.
Never
Apparently.
played one. Never played one.
Can you believe that? This dude's doing a podcast, never played an RPG. Sonic has a new game, Sonic X Shadow Superstars or something like that. People are loving that too. Sonic actually is having a successful run right now. Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero. Dragon Ball lovers got a brand new, 200 freaking guys to pick from for Dragon Ball now? Like, who needs that many characters to pick from or whatever? Diablo 4 has a new expansion, Vessel of Hatred. Will I get back into it with Diablo Season 4? I don't know, but I'd like to. Yakuza Kiwami came out on Switch, so people can finally try the Yakuza series, which I love, and the show released on Prime, and I was a little worried at first, but they hit it. The first 3 episodes were great. And finally, we have East 10, which is another RPG. East is a favorite series of mine, action RPG, hack and slash, and this 10th one just came out today or yesterday, and I just got it in the mail. So that's all the crazy releases. And if you're a Nintendo fan, which I'm not, like I said, you guys are going to be excited about Metroid Prime 4, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Xenoblade Chronicles X. That was kind of a big announcement a couple days ago.
Right.
And Pokemon Legends coming out. So there's stuff for you there too. A lot of games coming out. It's exciting.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining me.
Well, what are you doing next week? Weren't you going to come see me or something?
Oh, that's right. So I'm going to be traveling up north to the Northern California area, which is Sacramento, which I've never seen before, for a business trip. So we're going to get together, me and Josh, and we're going to record a couple of videos, maybe take some pictures so I could update the website. And and we're going to hit up an arcade, you said, right?
I'm about an hour from where he is going to be heading, so I'm going to come down there after work one night and pick him up. And there's this place down in Sacramento that's a massive adult arcade where you can get drunk and play video games. Now, I don't drink anymore. I don't plan on getting drunk, but I've wanted to go to this place forever. And we actually went down there for my birthday a couple of years ago, and they were having a huge bike racing tournament in Sacramento, and we could not get to the place we were going, and it ruined my birthday. So we're going to relive that, and I'm going to do it with a buddy, and we're going to play some freaking pinball and like old school arcade all the way up to modern stuff. This place is huge. They make gourmet foods and pizzas. Like, it's a hype place for adults to go in and hang out and have a good time. So
California
we're going to go there.
Pizza. I'll be the judge of that. Let me tell you something.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be gourmet style. It's weird toppings and stuff. It's none of that just, New York pepperoni. You're going to have to try some toppings.
I used to think you couldn't screw up pizza, but then I moved to California.
I'm not going to say anything's better. I don't give a shit. I eat pizza whether it's pizza or not. You give me any kind of pizza, New York, Chicago, Detroit, whatever, I'll put it in my face. I'm eating pizza.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
All right,
it's
man.
been a blast.
Yep. We'll talk to you next week, or no, I'm sorry, in 6 weeks or 7 weeks, but I'll see you next week, and we'll talk some more.
Yeah, if you guys want more content, get on my links. Make sure you follow me on Gosh Josh Games on Twitter with an S, and Gosh Josh Games with a Z on TikTok and Twitch, and that's where I'll be having most of my content to try and keep you all entertained.
And he'll be updating Dad's game review.
I will try.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, my friend.
Bye.